All right, let's look at your homework problems for part one. For number one, I chose C, U, and I to represent the terms of the argument. You may have chosen different terms or different letters for your terms. That's perfectly fine. You just want to make sure that your argument is an AII in figure 4. Okay. When we mark our premise statements, we shade in area 6 and 7 to show that all the C's are also used, but we mark the X on the line separating area 2 and 3 because when we went to mark premise number 2, some U or I, we realized we could put an X in area 2 or area 3, and anytime that happens, we put that single X on the line separating those two areas, and any argument with the X on the line is an invalid argument. We can check this against our inventory. An AII in figure 4 does not appear in this inventory, so we can be pretty confident in our work here. Number two, I chose A, P, and K as my terms. You may have chosen different. You just want to make sure that you have an argument that has the form E, I, O in figure 1. When we mark our Venn diagram, we shade in area 3 and 4, and we mark a single X here in area 2. And after doing that, we see the conclusion statement, some K are not P. That K right there represented by that X is not a P. And that tells us that this argument is valid from the Boolean and Aristotelian standpoints. And again, we can check our work by consulting. Our inventory here on the figure 1 column is EIO. So right on. Number 3. We want to make sure we have an argument in the form of EAO in figure 2. When we mark our premises, we shade in areas 5 and 6 to show that all T are P, and we shade in area 3 and 4 to show no I or P. And after doing that, we do not see our conclusion, some T or I. If we did, there'd be an X right there in area 2, but there is no X there. But if we think about this from the Aristotelian standpoint, even though this is invalid from the Boolean, it may be invalid from the Aristotelian. We get to mark a circled X in area 2 because it's the only area of the T circle where any of the T's can be. So if they're all there, there's at least one there, provided any T's exist. Do television evangelists exist? That's what T represents here. Yes, they do. So this argument has met the condition for validity from the Aristotelian standpoint because an argument with the form EAO in figure 2 requires that the subject term of the conclusion, T, be an actually existing thing. All right, number 4. All H or D, some D are not P, some P are not H. We want to make sure that we have an argument in a syllogism in the form of AOO figure 4. Okay? When we have this, when we Venn diagram, we shade in area 6 and 7 to show that all the H's are D's. But we don't know where to put the X to show that some D are not P, because any D that exists here in area 1 or area 4 would be a D that's not a P. So we mark it on that line between those two areas, and anytime we do that, we know this argument is invalid. It does not show up in our inventory of valid forms. So again, we're checking our work. Finally, number 5, we want to have an argument in the form of EEE figure 4. When we do that, or when we mark that argument, we shade in areas 2 and 3 to show that no C or D, and we shade in area 4 to show that no E or C. And when we do that, we do not see the conclusion no D or E. Maybe there's some D right here in area 6. We don't know. What we do know is that it's not necessarily the case that no D or E, even when we assume these premise statements are true. And again, we can look on our inventory, and there's no valid form of argument that has the mood EEE. We'll talk more about that in our next thought primer. All right. If you have any questions about any of these or any of them threw you for a loop, just shoot me an email and we'll get everything cleared up.